Welcome back. You're watching Today, and there have been growing calls for the road freight industry to do more to prevent accidents on our roads. Risk management consultancy Riskonet Africa says the Boksburg disaster should be a major wake-up call for local transport companies, particularly those moving dangerous chemicals. They say companies should track their trucks at all times. So let's bring in Volker van Videren, a specialist, a risk consultant at Riskonet Africa, for more on this. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Volker. And I mean, it was quite a scary incident that 3 days later still has many a community member traumatized from the major effects it had on that community. And obviously, it's raised a lot of issues around the safety management for the transportation of dangerous goods on our roads by trucks. What is the status quo when it comes to that? Are companies following due diligence to make sure these goods are transported as safely as possible as they need to be?
Good evening to you and all your viewers. Yeah, look, the question has to be probably from good practice to bad practice. The fact that this particular tanker got stuck under a bridge is really something that should never have happened. It's easy to say so in hindsight, but there are many procedures that should be put in place prior to this to avoid these kind of issues. And then, of course, when there is an accident, there are a whole range of safety procedures that are then standard protocol where the traffic is warned, there's a particular safety distance from an event that has to be set up, warnings are set up and the like, and there's training that's provided in all these areas. There's significant protocols and safety standards, both by local authorities and the operators of these vehicles that are in place, and the question is, how are they executed? In this particular, example, unfortunately, and we're very sorry about the massive tragedy that's happened. People are paying with their lives for an incredible set of circumstances that should never have happened.
And before we get into some of the ways in which these companies should be complying with the safe transportation of dangerous goods, what is the reason that some companies fall by the wayside here? Is it a lot cheaper to make sure that they're not following the necessary oversight measures, or are there any other reasons that some companies are doing what they do in terms of not following protocol to the T?
I think, and it's without first-hand evidence, but I think we do know that our roads in South Africa are not well policed. We have a lot of laws, but they aren't always well executed. The logistics industry has been under significant cost pressures with changes in fuel prices. It's a very competitive industry. Timing and deadline pressures are large. You've got the issue of local and foreign drivers and changing staff, changing contracts. One truck contractor does it this month, maybe another truck contractor the next month. So you've got inconsistency factors. So I think there are a lot of factors that then undermine what we would believe are consistent and high quality risk management practices that should be executed on a regular basis. Now, it's quite possible that a truck may have been able to get under this bridge before at some time. But how do we know if another pipe or some other obstruction wasn't built under that bridge for another reason that nobody saw? And that's the thing about diligence, quality, regular inspections, making sure that the routes are well reviewed, that we know the heights and that we know that the various trucks and specifications are actually deemed fit for the route that's been supplied. So I think the quality and the diligence and the detail of the risk management here obviously had major gaps in it, and it'll have to be followed up.
What does it say about driver training and the details that they should know themselves about the specifics of the truck that they're driving, the goods contained within the truck, and the routes set out by the logistics company? How important is that training for a driver? And in that answer, if you could, Volker, have you found instances where there have been drivers that have been not trained at all carrying such dangerous goods?
Well, answering the second part first, we haven't found that, but we have a lot of experience in the risk management industry regarding motor and logistics environment where there is a contribution and or recklessness on driver issues and or lack of training. We have more than enough examples. The Pietermaritzburg crash, where the truck went, without brakes down a long hill, and so forth. And these issues are one of them. The other pressure, though, and the area that I think we need to look at carefully as well, is what are the pressures that the drivers are under? What are the time schedules? What other work or bonus related pressures do they have to meet a difficult schedule and do many things on the same day that may be more difficult and therefore push for shortcuts and other things? So I don't think it's only on the driver. And I would be, let's say, surprised if a driver managed to say, no, I'm not going to go down the slower route because I don't think it's, or the quicker route because I don't think it's safe. I'm going to go in the slower route. There's so much pressure to get things done in the logistics industry that I think there's a difficulty there in terms of drivers being able to exercise good judgment. So I think there are many questions in terms of the balance of training, judgment, and supporting the drivers to do the right job at the right time.
So we've spoken about the companies here as well as the drivers. Tell us about the importance of the role that needs to be played by traffic authorities as well as municipalities to make sure that the infrastructure on which these truckers are driving is optimal and as safe as possible.
Sure. So, I mean, a local authority that knows that they're either close to a gas plant or they're maybe close to a receiving. So there could be an industrial facility. So it may have been that this gas tanker was dropping gas off either at the hospital or at an industrial plant close by. When that happens, the authorities know that these tankers are driving in that area. And if they see that a tanker is not driving on an improved route, they should be able to respond very quickly. Now, we've all been traveling over the December period, and we see a lot of the traffic police taking trucks and trailers off the road that seem to be overloaded. So there seems to be a major focus on overloaded trucks and trailers, whereas here we've got a situation where a highly dangerous truck was driving ostensibly on the wrong road. It should also have been blocked from a particular route or identified. Similarly, the technology of these trucks can share that data both with the logistics company and with the other monitoring agencies. And if a dangerous truck like this is driving on the wrong road, it should send a red signal to the logistics operator as well as the local authority, or it's very simple to achieve that. And I don't think it's happened in this case.
Thank you very much for those insights. That is Volker van Videren, a specialist risk consultant at Riskonet Africa, joining us to speak about that tragedy that happened on Christmas Eve in Boksburg and what should be done to prevent any further carnage of that nature.